spirit is the pursuit of knowledge, understanding, what's gone before, history. And where do you get that? You get that from reading, you get it from magazines, electronics, and all of that is the library. I would say to young people, just think of here in Memphis, in this city, it is one of the most welcoming cities for participation that I know of. And I've lived all across the state of Tennessee. I'm a native of Middle Tennessee. I love it there. And I love East Tennessee. But right here in this area, if you want to go to a group and say, could I come and join with you, or how can I help? Nearly always you will be welcome. And as you do that, perform a task and show your concern, I think it continues from that point. You get more enthused about it, people get enthused about you and what you can do. So I would urge young people to seek out something that sounds interesting and go give it a try.
Usually a public library community starts just this way. A group of moms think there should be a library. They gather up all the books in their house and they take them to some church basement or somebody's porch. And they set them out there, and then somebody writes down everybody's name and takes out a book and they send them out right back. In fact, one of the great stories about Murray Buckner is that she started the Raleigh Branch Library with tomato cartons. They had a lot of books in the tomato cartons, and they used the cartons like this to take to the shelf. So almost all of the suburban libraries here started with a group of moms who said, we need a library.
I can't even imagine a city without the greatest possible library that we can muster up, imagine, and bring to reality. The building that was on the site where the library currently is was erected for a department store chain named J.B. Hunter. It was a discount department store for rather decent. Following that company's demise, AutoZone ended up with that as their headquarters. And AutoZone had actually overgrown that site itself. And I was very anxious to get AutoZone to come downtown here and be a part of Peabody Place. And John Dewes, who works with me, and I had many conversations, first with one another, and then we got interviews with Ted Hyde and John Pontius. And we would come over to the AutoZone location of Papa. First we were invited, second we were almost uninvited. I guess we were rather persistent. In any event, we made it our business when we would come over there early in the morning to bring muffins from the Peabody. And I guess Pitt started thinking that maybe this wasn't too far-fetched, even though the selection of that site for a new library created, as everything else creates, both enthusiasm, optimism, and pessimism. We had a mixture of all of those, but by the time the library opened, I believe all of those things, the negatives had disappeared, and people were very enthused with what was being given to them in the way of the Central Library, and were pleased with the location.
Living here in Memphis is a big plus. First place, I've lived here all my 93 years. I just think Memphis is a great place. That's something that had needed to be done, which was successfully done, which always makes one feel that they're able to accomplish.
We arrived here in September of 1985. People on the board, staff, people in the community were saying to me, you know, I went to Denver, or I went to Albuquerque, or I went to Atlanta, and I saw their library, and wow, that was really amazing. Why don't we do that? Well, so I have a lot of trepidation about what it would take to get to that level, but people were already saying to me, Memphis needs to do better with the library system. So that was a great gift. I could walk into a situation where people were saying to me, we gotta do something about this.
Good morning. It's such a pleasure for me to be here with you this morning. And I noticed we have another member of the city staff.
Is that your team?
Director Cooks.
That's your team. Take it over there.
The mayor talked about travel and what all you could do there at the library. And we need a lot of people to go to a lot of places so that we can gather the experience necessary. I can remember when we were meeting down on Central in the old building, and you know, there was a lot of talk about a lot of things. They were going to keep pretty much AutoZone building intact, and we're going to save some money and all that. And they didn't tell me, but the next thing I heard was about a fundraiser, and that each individual was going to be putting some money in there. Well, let me tell you, it's nothing like having or being in the right place at the right time. And we had that person. That person was Dr. Lennon. He did one thing so well that we could not, as board members, refuse to put your money in, because he led by example. And of course, this lovely lady, Judy, she went all over the country, and they got the best they could find in all of these libraries in various places and brought it back to Memphis. We know education is the key, and that library is the one place that we are very proud of. And I'm happy to say and to be a part of it. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
That was Pat Carter, by the way. I'm Dean Deo, and we were both on the original founding board. Remember those old rear view mirrors that used to have the thing that said on them, caution, objects may appear larger than they are? Well, keep that in mind, because, well, first of all, we were all much younger back then, I remember. But it was the biggest deal. It was an honor to be asked to be a part of the founding board, because it was a big deal at the time. As Judy said, we were being compared to all these other cities, and we were going to build this library that was so much better. And when they decided that AutoZone building had to be torn down, and it was going to be a brand new structure, and I can remember feeling so good. I had been on a couple of campaigns, but no one had done $20 million. In fact, St. Jude was probably doing $20 million back then, but there were no campaigns like that. And I can remember feeling very honored to be on the board. I remember coming to the first meeting, and I think it was Judy that said, all right, now here's the deal. You've been hearing all this stuff, you've been reading all this stuff, the city's gonna do all this great thing, they're gonna build this great library, but you need to understand that they're only paying for the building. The inside is going to be empty. Empty. No shelves, no chairs, no desks, no computers, no books. And she said, all we think it's going to take is about $20 million in order to fill that place up. And I'm sure there was shock on the face of every person on that board at that time. I grew up in libraries. My mom was, as Judy said, was one of those ladies that in the town that I grew up in, and she didn't have a degree in library science, but she ran the library, and so I grew up around the library, so it was fun to do. But it was a huge task. And I'm not sure that any of us thought that it was something that was, at that moment, something possible, but it didn't take us long, and once the building started going up, we all thought we were just going to be there for some groundbreaking and some parties and some grand openings, and didn't know all the hard work that was going to be done as part of it. And one of the quick story, one of my favorites, I remember one of the grand openings, we had a big deal. We had a big stage set up in the library in the parking lot, and they had all these bands, and I was at the podium. I think there were 3 of us at the podium at the time. This lady comes up from the side, and she has a little card, and she hands it to one of the people, and said, "Would you please read this?" And they read the card, and it said, "Would the owner of the black Ford with the license number such and such please come over here?" And it was kind of quiet. And then I said, "Wait a minute, that's my car." And so I quietly left the stage and went over, and someone had rammed into my car as we parked in the parking lot. So I have very fond memories of a number of things from the library. But in the end, the task was completed. I got to work with a fabulous group of people. It was successful. $21.7 million later, the inside was fabulous. Dr. Leonard did twist my arm, and in the main lobby downstairs, there's a very nice piece of public art dedicated to my mother. And so I got that and a new side to my car out of the whole thing. So thank you all.